Self-care, for me is giving your body what it needs. So that can be sleep, that can be exercise, that can be food, that can be silence. Um, we often think of self-care like a bubble bath or a pedicure or whatever, and those are also things, if that's your thing. It's what do you need? What fills your proverbial cup, and for some people, it's reading a book. For some people, it is that bath. For some people, it's just 5 minutes of peace alone, without someone bothering you. Um, so the things that your body physically needs, that your mind and your mindset physically need, that's what self-care is to me.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Sleep Like a Boss podcast. I am super excited because I have Heather Dumas here with me today. Hi, Heather.
Hi.
You are a healthy lifestyle strategist, and we're going to go into what that is in a minute. But what we're going to talk about today is really how we turn that word of self-care that a lot of us women, I think, almost dread sometimes because it's like, oh my God, I have so many balls in the air. I'm juggling so much. If I put self-care in there, I can tell you one of those balls is going to drop on the floor. And am I going to be happier? I don't know. So I want to talk to you because that is your area of expertise to really nail this down with women and help them through that process to feel better and to still manage careers, family, relationships, whatever there might be. And I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, my pleasure.
Should we dive in? How did this all start for you?
So it all started, I was way back, decided I was going to teach group fitness, and I started that, and I got dove headfirst because that's what I do. And I got to the point where I was teaching like 12 classes a week, plus doing my own workouts, plus my kids were little at the time and juggling all the things. And um, I started realizing that even though I was quote unquote doing all the right things to take care of myself, things were not working. I was exhausted. I was short-tempered. I was gaining body fat and not muscle, even though I was working out like a crazy person. Um, Things just weren't working. And so I started to explore that and realized that I was not putting myself first, even though I thought I was. And the lifestyle that I was living was the hustle and the grind was actually really negatively affecting me physically. So I dove down that rabbit hole and came up with ways to prioritize my self-care without sacrificing, my career, my time with my family, all that stuff. So that's where I became very passionate about this
Yeah, and I
because I
think
did
you
not
might
want to
have
have to
found.
stop.
Yeah, and you might have kind of found the magic. I think that's the magic key kind of to figure out how to kind of, because we kind of want to do it all, and I think we can, but we have to know some tricks and tips and tools maybe how
Right.
to do
Yeah.
that. Can we maybe start just so everybody's on the same page? How do you define self-care? What is it for you and what is it not?
Self-care, for me is giving your body what it needs. So that can be sleep, that can be exercise, that can be food, that can be silence. um, we often think of self-care like a bubble bath or a pedicure or whatever, and those are also things, if that's your thing. It's what do you need? What fills your proverbial cup, and for some people, it's reading a book. For some people, it is that bath. For some people, it's just 5 minutes of peace alone, without someone bothering you. Um, so the things that your body physically needs, that your mind and your mindset physically need, that's what self-care is to me.
Awesome. And what do you, when you work with women, then what do you see? Like, what do women struggle with a lot in that scenario of creating like a healthy lifestyle with self-care in there?
they struggle with actually making it happen. We all know that we need to exercise. We all know that we need to eat healthy. Like those aren't secrets. Um, but we all struggle with putting ourselves on the to-do list because life happens. And specifically, I'm a type A person. I work with primarily type A women. And yes, you are
Hello.
too. And so, we're doing all the things, right?
Mhm.
I personally wear like a half a dozen hats, in addition to my coaching company. I teach skiing, I coach skiing, I teach instructors how to teach skiing. I'm a Girl Scout leader. Like I do all of the things. And um it's very easy for those things to become the number one priority for you, um, to where you're like, "Oh, I'll work out later," or "I'll just eat my kids, the last chicken nugget that my kids didn't eat, or the last few bites of their food," instead of sitting down to make yourself an actual meal because it's just easier. It's just they're more important, your partner is more important, your job is more important, your whatever is more important in your head. But when you put yourself first, all of those things happen better. You perform better. You're a better partner. You're a better parent. You're a better friend. Your brain actually works for you to do your job. So if you're running on empty, you know, you may think that it's beneficial, but it's not. It's the opposite of what you want.
I agree. And I think we can do that. And I totally identify with this. And yes, I'm a coach, and yes, do I help women? But do I struggle with that too? Yes, full on. For me, it's mostly the exercise part.
Mhm.
Like I get my steps in and stuff every day because I just have to do things outside and
Right.
walk. But this actual do the workout 2 to 3 times a week. It's
Yeah.
right there. The equipment is there. It's all set up that I don't even have to go anywhere. But then it's like, oh no, clients, let's do business. For me, it's mostly like diet and stuff is really good, but like it's this business always comes
Right.
before exercise.
Right. And really that's what I help my clients identify is why. Why are you choosing business over your exercise? Is it because you are worried that you're not going to make enough money? And, or is it because are you choosing your family because you want to make sure that they know that you think they're important or you feel important or whatever? And so that's really the biggest thing that we do. Yes, I help you figure out what to eat. Yes, I help you figure out the right exercise for your body. But the implementation, the understanding of why. Why am I choosing to shove this cookie in my face? Why am I choosing to skip my workout? Why am I choosing to stay up till 2 in the morning working? And once you identify that, once you identify the reason behind it, it's much easier to make a sustainable change to your behavior. So, and that's what I'm all about. I'm about sustainability and I want you to enjoy it. You know, life, it's a lifestyle. You're going to do it forever. So you might as well enjoy it. And if you're asking yourself to eat foods that you don't like or restrict yourself to a point where you're not getting what you love, you're not going to do it.
Absolutely. What would like a healthy lifestyle look like for you? And would it look different for you than it does for one of your clients, maybe?
Yes, it looks
Okay.
different for everyone.
Okay.
So even though my program, the structure is very set, I guess is what I should say. It's a very structured program, and it works for every single person. I've had 100% success rate, but what they do is all different because what your body needs is different than what my body needs. You may run on great on 8 hours of sleep. I may need 10, or, for me specifically, I'm sensitive to a lot of foods like gluten and
Mhm.
dairy, and
Mhm.
other people aren't. So it's really your lifestyle has to be exactly what your body needs. It needs to fit your family dynamic. It needs to fit your life itself. I always say that, if you only have half an hour each day to work out, if I give you a program where you need to be in the gym for an hour, you're already set up to fail.
Yeah.
If you hate cooking and I tell you, hey, you need to make all these healthy recipes, you're already set up to fail. So that's what we do. We figure out what your body needs and how to make it happen, whether it's, ordering meal service from somewhere if you hate cooking, or it's making sure that your workouts aren't any longer than a half an hour, but you get everything done that you need to get done in that workout. So that's what it is.
Awesome. And what how do you do that for yourself? So how do you maintain your own? Because life's life, right?
Life is life.
It's not
Yeah.
always smooth. It often isn't, right? And I'm assuming you're also like there come things your way where you're like, oops, kind
Yeah,
of
for sure.
there's priorities, right?
So we're in the height of ski season. My daughter's a competitive skier. I coach her. I also have my own career as a ski instructor that I do a few days a week. And so this time of year is very challenging, and it's very, um, I'm not going to say easy, but it's more likely that I will be tempted to skip out on something for myself, like my workout. And it's interesting because your workout seems to be the first thing that goes. And I think it's because in our heads, we make it to be bigger than it is. It's like, oh, well, I have to drive to the gym, and then I have to do that. And then I have to drive home, and then I have to shower. And then you know, instead of what you said, like the equipment's right there, just do it.
Pick up the
You know?
pick up the dumbbells and
So
do it. Yeah.
for me, just today is a perfect example. Um, I normally am at the gym this time of day, but now I'm talking to you. So when am I going to go to the gym? And for me, it's not negotiable. It will happen. It just
Mhm.
gets rearranged. And that's really what I try to emphasize with my clients is that your healthy lifestyle is what it is. You need exercise, you need food, you need sleep. It's about rearranging those pieces of the puzzle throughout your day to accommodate life, but to make sure that they're still there. I prefer first thing in the morning. The first
Mhm.
2 hours of my day, maybe 2.5, are me. They're all about me. Aside from driving a kid to school, maybe in the middle, but that's how I prefer it. Does that happen every day? No, didn't happen today, but I'm still going to get my workout in. I'm still going to get my meditation. I'm still going to get good food in my body, and that's really where the healthy lifestyle strategy comes
Mhm.
in. It's figuring out, okay, what does tomorrow look like? And that's really, I created planners for this reason. I have a power hour planner where every evening, and it came out of my habits, I sit down and I look at my calendar and I go, okay, what's on the docket tomorrow? Where do people need to be? Where do I need to be? When are we going to eat? What are we going to eat? Do I need to put something in the crock pot? Do I need to, um, you know, bring my gym bag with me or do I need to bring a change of clothes because I'm going straight from the gym to somewhere else? What does the day look like? And when you do it that way, it becomes very easy to make sure it all happens. When you wait until the morning of, and you go, oh, my day is really busy, I guess I'll just figure it out. I'll get it done eventually. It doesn't ever happen that way. You don't get it done.
You're so right. I think it's that. And I'm just really seeing myself in that too, that this sometimes when you get into that reactive mode,
Yeah.
right? Oh, it's Thursday morning, kids like not feeling grumpy, things are not so smooth. We have to pack lunches. We're having arguments because we're tired because the kid didn't sleep well.
Right.
And then
Right.
it's like all kind of everything falls apart. And then you're just like, I just need to breathe. Like, don't even think about anything else, right? Like, just let me breathe.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's exactly if you're a step ahead of the game,
Yeah.
you control what's happened. And I think for
Yeah.
us type A's, right? I'm not even
Yeah.
using the
We
word,
like
right?
that control.
Yeah, we like that control. We like to be in control, but a lot of us, I think, also like planning.
Yeah.
We are checklist type people often,
Right.
right? So just getting into that habit of doing it and having that control over
Yeah.
the
Well,
time and the routes and the actions, it really should make it, I guess, a lot easier for us. Yeah.
exactly. And that's the thing is that you are a planner. I'm a planner. Like you can look at your calendar and things that are scheduled
Yeah.
3 months from now, right?
Yeah.
So why not put yourself on that calendar? Why not take the extra 5 minutes it takes to think about yourself in that day? And that's really where, um, when you're really stressed out and you're running on empty all the time, your body is negatively affected. And a lot of the change that my clients see physically happens from the simple act of having a plan, the simple act of stepping back and looking, 2, 3, 4 days down the road and going, okay, where do I fit in? And then your stress level is lower and your body is able to do what it needs to do. It can let go of fat. It can build muscle. Your brain fog goes away. And yeah, life happens and stressful situations occur. But when you have a plan and you've already done the pre-work to make sure that you're set up for success that day, the stress doesn't build. You may have a momentary somebody cuts you off in traffic type stress, but it doesn't snowball through the day.
I think, yeah, I agree. I think, and that is the way you're describing, that's exactly the thing. You're going to end up, if you're reactively doing that, and I can say it for me, I do that sometimes too. Yeah, it's that snowball. You're behind all day. You're trying to catch up all day. And almost guaranteed if one thing went wrong, something else is not going to go perfect.
Exactly.
And then you start feeling like, or I often, then it's like, oh my God, I didn't get anything accomplished today. And then you go to bed and you're like, because I'm like, sleep is well, I'm not just a sleep coach, but for me, like that's my number one. I do not compromise on that.
Right.
For me, that's because I need it. Otherwise, don't come across me after 6 hours. Like it's not going to be fun the next morning.
Right.
So that's my non-negotiable. But it's exactly that. It's that being proactive. And I think with the planning, and that's something I see with myself, is also sleep gets better. It's like you're not
Yeah.
laying there and it's like, bing, oh no, I forgot to do this. Oh, this
Yeah.
needs to go on my to-do list. Oh no, forgot to whatever, take the rotten banana out of the kid's knapsack, or didn't call
Right.
mom, or got to pick up the
Right.
dry cleaning, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
If you map things out,
Yeah.
yes, things can change and we can rewrite. But if you map things out, also your brain's like, oh, it's there. It's like
Yeah.
she's not forgetting about it. I don't have to constantly remind
Right.
her that
Right.
she still hasn't picked up the dry cleaning. She has
Right.
it on there for Thursday at 2 or whenever it's gonna happen. So you have brain capacity also, I find, for thinking, for other things.
Exactly.
And you're just
Exactly.
calmer overall. Yeah.
Yeah. You're calmer. And when you're getting the food that you need, when you're getting the exercise you need, you sleep better.
Yes, for sure.
Your body does not rest well when it hasn't gotten the nourishment it needs, when it hasn't burned through some of the stored energy that you've taken in. And again, putting ourselves last, we go through the day, we have a crazy day. You finally get to 10, 12, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes you haven't even eaten, and then it's like, forget about it. I'll just have a bottle of wine for dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that'll help me relax and go to sleep. Meanwhile, it's having the opposite effect. It's
Yeah.
disrupting your sleep
Yeah.
and and messing with your whole biological system. Yeah. So, and for me and a lot of my clients, figuring out what food sensitivities they have, can drastically change things. I was going through all kinds of hormonal crap. I figured out my hormones were all out of whack because of the way I was living my lifestyle. And my thyroid was not functioning like it should.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as soon as I took out the inflammatory foods and I got rid of the mental stress that I was exerting on myself, my thyroid came back to life.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it's not just a luxury. It's not just like you should sleep or you should exercise. It's a you must, or your body will start shutting down one system at a time.
I know, and it sometimes sounds like, for some of my clients, I know it can sound so overwhelming sometimes, right? It's like, oh my God, I'm fried. I'm not sleeping. I'm burned out. And then sometimes you have the people who are like, and I'm still going to hit, and I'm still getting on that Peloton for an hour every. No, then we might have to dial that in and change that up a bit because it might be
Right.
too much. Like we need all the pillars, right? We need the diet,
Right.
we need but we also need to get to a point where we're able to exercise a little to build that. Like what you said, the one from my perspective is always this: yes, we want to build sleep pressure, yes, we want to be doing good things for our body, but it's also and I get it that people are like, that Peloton bike is my stress relief. I
Right.
totally get that, and that's great.
But what if you didn't
if
have
we're
to
in a
have the
state where we can
stress?
do it.
What if you didn't have the stress that needed relieving,
Yeah, yeah, that too.
right? Like, yes,
Very
that
fair
is your stress
question.
relief, but what if you didn't have stress that you needed to relieve? What if
Yeah.
you had set yourself up and given your body what it needs so that you don't feel that stress, so then you don't feel the need to relieve it?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
it sounds simple because it is. It is very simple. Um, that's the one thing that I hear the most from my clients is, well, this is like it's almost too easy. You know, because they come in, we make it into in our heads again, we make it a bigger deal than it is. We make what eating healthy, oh, well, I'm going to have to buy everything organic and I'm going to have to cook everything from scratch and then I'm going to have to whatever. And no, there are ways around it. There are
Yeah,
so many ways around it.
yeah.
It's not any more costly. It's not any more time consuming. It's just a matter of rearranging things. It's a matter of stepping back and going, okay, I need to, we, as a family, we have to eat, right? We must eat to live. So if I skip out on the planning and I skip out on, cooking or whatever, that means we're going to end up in a drive-through. Um, it actually doesn't save you time and it's more money.
Mhm.
I don't know. The last time I went to a fast food restaurant, it was a long time, but our whole family, it was like $50, $60, for some garbage food.
Yeah,
And at the time, I said to my husband, I was like, I cannot believe how much money we just spent on this garbage.
I know, and I think it's so interesting. Oh, I find over the past 2 to 3 years, and I've just been looking into that with one client who's super busy, and they were like, I want to eat healthy. I would be okay to spend money on a delivery, at least for lunches, because I don't
Right,
have time for that.
right.
Because I actually enjoy cooking. Um, and there's actually, we started digging into some of the meal services.
There
There
are
is
some great
some
ones.
good stuff out there, and
Yeah,
it's not like you're saying, it's not overly expensive. Um, it's there's some good food, and I would also, I don't know what your thought is on that, but to me, it's also, we don't have to go from zero, which is the drive-through, to 100% whole food, organic, every
right,
day. I'm cooking for like 4 or 5 people, super fresh.
right.
There's a big zone in
There's a big gap
between,
there. Yeah.
right? And we're making steps in the right direction. So we're changing things.
Hmm.
And like sometimes if people listen to coaches, it's like, yes, we also had a journey, right? It wasn't that yesterday we did drive through and today we're where we're at.
Right,
Like we've also gone through a journey. It's just that if people work with somebody like you, yes, there's tips and tricks that we learned the hard way that you can have faster and that you can just implement quicker. But there is never, at least from my point, you never the expectation to do it perfect, just to
right,
make progress in the right direction. And once you created those habits,
right.
you might even be like, oh, let's try something new. Like I want
Yeah,
to play with that because food's actually something that I might enjoy. It gives me, like for me, it's something I like new recipes. If I have make the time, it's relaxing.
yeah, yeah. Well, and again, we make it more complicated than it needs to be. If you have a crock pot, you can
Yeah,
throw some kind of protein, vegetables, and some kind of liquid and turn it on. Like it's just not hard.
yeah.
you know, and you know, I like to help my clients learn to cook, but it's not a mandatory. Like you said,
Mhm.
there are meal services. But I also have had clients where I'm like, okay, you have older kids, delegate it,
Yeah,
give everybody
a
one
tool.
night a week to cook dinner,
Yeah.
make the plan together, pick the recipes together, involve them, and kids eat what they cook. They
Mhm.
take pride in it. So if you have your kid cook dinner and, you sit down together and you're like, oh, this recipe sounds good and it has some vegetables in it, they're more likely to eat it if they're the ones cooking it.
Absolutely. That's a great tip. I think
Yeah.
that's
So,
fantastic.
I mean, and that's the thing. That's exactly why it's healthy lifestyle strategy because we sit down and we talk about, okay, what does your life look like? Is scrubbing toilets at 11 p.m. really the best use of your time? Or should we outsource this or delegate it to someone else in the house? you
Yes.
know? And will it be done exactly as you do it? No. but you didn't have to do it. And that gave you an extra hour of sleep, you know. Um, we tend to, again, as type A people, like to control the world and take on everything and do everything ourselves because we can do it better than them. But at what cost?
Yes,
At
it
what
comes at
cost?
a price. Exactly. Yeah.
At what cost? So,
Yeah.
and also working with me, I have done all the research. I'm coming on my 7th year of coaching, and I've done so much research. I have such a depth of knowledge of the science behind things that you don't have to do. You don't have to do the trial and error and go, well, maybe I'll try cutting out carbs and see if that works. That's 3 months before you maybe see if it works. Okay, it didn't work. Now you're going to try cutting out meat altogether. Okay, 3 more months to see if that works. Meanwhile, you're 6 months down the road and nothing has changed.
Yeah. I mean,
Instead
unless
of
you might be grumpy because you're missing some of the key
exactly,
macronutrients, probably that give you
exactly,
energy, and your body
exactly.
composition might have changed to the worse, actually. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Or, and a lot of it too is, okay, well, it's a holiday. The holiday season's coming, summer vacation, spring break, life comes and you're like, oh, well, how do I do my perfect diet if I'm going on vacation? How do I maintain my perfect diet through a bunch of holiday parties? It's not it's not something that's going to happen unless you have a plan. And
Yeah.
that's where I specialize and I love to do. And my one of my clients that I'm working with right now, she was so cute. She loves Halloween. And she's like, "I got to have my Halloween treats and I'm still losing weight." Like, yeah, exactly. Because we made it part of your lifestyle. It's not, you're going to live on chicken and broccoli for the rest of your life. It's not, I'm going to, spend an hour or two on my Peloton every day, which PS, you should be lifting weights more than you should be on your
Yeah.
Peloton, but we cannot dive down that rabbit hole. But, but it's just a matter of understanding what your body needs and how to make it happen. And that's what I do.
And I think that's fantastic. Like the way I think you've taken the role of making it doable, right?
Yes,
Like, so it is sustainable. So
exactly.
we are not getting a coach, and while they're holding our hand, this is all great, and then the coach goes away and you're back to
Right.
square one, right? Because
Right.
that also that it really is sustainable, and how you're implementing it would be.
Well, and a lot of people, they go to their 6 week whatever detox, or they do their 90-day this or that, and then you're just waiting to the end. And then what?
Yeah.
Then you go back to what you were doing, or you binge because you haven't had chocolate in 3 months. And so you shove as much chocolate as you can in your face. It's not sustainable.
Yeah.
That roller coaster is not sustainable, and it is dangerous. The more times that you yo-yo up and down, the harder it is on your body, and you will put yourself at risk for a lot more than just being overweight.
Absolutely. So in terms of tips, we've
Yes.
talked about plan ahead. Like
Hmm.
actually get yourself a little, they cost nothing, like a little weekly timer if you need, or something. Do it on your phone, like you can do it anywhere, right? Um, put yourself in there,
Hmm.
and then put things around, like where are your workouts going? Or where's your 10 minutes, I'm just gonna breathe,
Right.
not gonna do anything going,
Yeah.
right? Where, and then schedule things around that. Then you were talking about hiring family
Yeah.
members,
Exactly.
outsourcing within
Outsource.
the family to other people who can do jobs with, yes, us letting a bit go of that perfectionism approach that we have, but really outsourcing that to other people who are highly capable of doing certain tasks
Right.
that get off your plate. And then looking at, if we're looking at diet, really trying to simplify, like the protein, the veggie, like you were saying, the liquid with the crock
Yeah.
pot, or really just a few simple things. We're not expecting 5-course meals. It just, right?
Right. Well,
It's
and
simple.
something as simple as when you do that, double the quantity that you're making, and now you have lunch for several days. And I have a lot of people that are like, I don't like leftovers. Listen, you got to get over that. Like, you got to get over that. Just get over it. It's not that bad.
No,
Leftovers are great.
absolutely. And there's certain things that can be better even as a leftover, right? Like
Sure.
they just, become
Yeah,
more flavorful when you let them sit a little more.
exactly. Exactly.
What's another? Can we do one more? Is there one
Yeah.
more where you're like, that's something that everybody can do? That's easy.
Um, Walking
Yeah.
outdoors without anything in your ears or in your hands. Like if you can, leave your phone at home. If you don't feel safe doing that, put it on do not disturb so that your family can still call you. But I mean, that do not disturb mode is everything. And now I have an Android and it has other modes. I think Apple phones have other modes. So I have exercise mode where I don't get any notifications when I'm exercising, but I can still get calls from my family. It's similar to do not disturb. There's relax mode that I do in the evening, but the walking is everything. If you just walked for 45 minutes a day, you would see drastic change in your body composition. You will see a drastic change in your sleep, especially if you make that walk happen earlier in the day where you can get some sunlight. No sunglasses either. No sunglasses, nothing in your ears, nothing in your hands. It will reset your circadian rhythm. And interestingly enough, the act of mapping, which is what we do when we walk around, we map our surroundings with our eyes, stimulates all kinds of amazing things in your brain. Allows your brain to kind of run in the background and solve problems and de-stress itself. So yeah, walk
And walking,
outside.
I think, is great. That's such a great, it's free. Like,
It's free.
right, we can do it. And I find a lot of type A's, and there again, I include myself, often have a bit of anxiety. And it might be like even like a hyper functioning anxiety that we just
Right,
want to get stuff done so quickly.
right.
And I find as soon as I go for a walk, like the first block, I'm racing. I'm literally walking at a very high pace. And then I was like, no, inhale,
Yeah,
exhale, keep walking. And the second block, I'm already slowing down. Like I can feel my body relaxing and
yeah,
processing. And it's just so easy to do. And I think in that moment, those things are so much more beneficial than 45 minutes on a Peloton.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I did a blog not too long ago about ice baths and that trend, and they're amazing for you
Mhm.
if and there's a lot of stuff behind that if. And we tend to, especially as type A's, do all the things, right?
Mhm.
If a little bit is good, then more is even better,
Yeah.
right? And so we're going to do all the things unknowingly causing damage. So
Yes.
if you're doing the HIIT training and you're doing the ice bath and you're doing the sauna and you're not sleeping and you're eating foods that are inflammatory to you, you're actually doing damage, more damage than if you did nothing and just went for a walk.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, it's amazing. Walking is amazing. And I started doing it about 6, 9 months ago for the benefit of my dog because he's older and he was not getting enough exercise. And I was like, okay, I'm going to walk you every day. And I am addicted to it now. Like I have not been able to go because again, hashtag life. Um, although my teenagers say no one says that anymore, mom. No one says hashtag, but
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
It's not cool, by the way. It's not cool anymore. But I hadn't been able to go on my walk and I was like missing it
Mhm.
because I have gotten to the point where that's where my mind clears. I just breathe. It brings me joy. As silly as that sounds, it brings me joy. And so I walk in the rain, I walk in the freezing cold, I walk in the snow, I walk every single day as much as I possibly can.
And it is, I think it's exactly that. And I think the importance is when you find something that is that simple and brings you joy, like what else do we want, right?
Right. And I did it reluctantly at first. I was like, you know, my type A brain, I could be spending this time doing this and this and that, but it's interesting. I got very and I used to poo-poo it too. I used to make fun of it. And then I started learning about the research behind it and I started learning about the health benefits of it. And that coupled with my dog needing more exercise, I started doing it and then I was like, "Oh my God, I'm hooked." Like it's just like meditation. I did it very reluctantly And it took me a long time to learn how to quote unquote do it right, which I don't even think that's a thing, but
Mhm.
in my head, it was a thing. And I started with 5 minutes, 5 minutes a day.
Yeah,
And now I can go 20, 30 minutes easily. And again, if I don't do it, my day is horrendous.
absolutely. And with meditation, I think because that's like our us type A's, right? Because the brain's
Right.
often so busy. I think it's called a practice for a reason.
Exactly.
You're supposed to practice.
You're supposed to practice.
You have to do it for like more continuously to learn how to do it. It is a
Exactly.
practice, right? Where
And
there's
that,
no perfectionism or perfect do it right first time doesn't.
and if you want to multitask, walk and do it. It's called a
Yeah,
walking meditation. If you
yeah,
just, meditation is simply just not actively thinking about something. It's not clearing your mind of zero thoughts. Like that's the one thing that I had to understand
yeah.
that people make it seem like that's what you're supposed to do. No one ever is not thinking. It's not a thing, but it's just not actively thinking on something. It's just kind of letting your mind wander.
Absolutely. This has been so great. There have been so many great tips. Thank you so much. I think you have something for
Yes.
listeners.
So I was telling you about figuring out what's stopping you. You know, why is it you keep choosing work? Why is it you keep choosing your family over your workout, over whatever? And I created a quiz for that. It's called a healthy lifestyle quiz. And you just literally 2 minutes answer a couple questions, and I will send you a personalized response as to what's going on and some ideas to overcome that. And I tied it to 90s sitcom characters to make it fun. So I let you know which character is most closely identifies with you or vice versa. But it's free. It's on my website. It's on my social media. It's everywhere. So
Awesome. So we'll link them in the show notes for sure. But can you just quickly tell people where they can find you?
yes. So I'm on all the social media platforms. HD Transformations with an S on the end is my handle, except for LinkedIn. I'm mostly on my personal profile. I do have a business profile, but and then yeah, all the socials is the best place to find me. I like to connect with new people. I like to make friends. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. It's been an
Yes, my pleasure.
absolute pleasure. And everybody, thanks so much for listening. Go check out Heather's profile, and we'll see you next time.